I think, the way I would start any discussion on translations is we always need to keep in mind that a translation is an interpretation.
Some of those prepositions have 7 options, and then I see how the NIV or the NRSV chose, and I think, oh my, they have now entered into the world of interpretation, because they can't choose all 7, and so that committee is choosing an interpretation of that text. And that is really fun to see all the options. A lot of times they don't change, but there are a lot of texts that really change depending on the grammar that's chosen. And translation work is never objective. It always includes interpretation, and we have to be aware of where we stand and what our theological orientation is, and when we're imposing that onto the text, that's why it's important to do it in a committee.
I think the biggest thing is that students need to be reminded that Scripture is always read. It always needs to be read and interpreted in a community, and that the way that we think through translations and judgments that are made can have some real implications. So I go with the NRSV, but I think it's extremely valuable to read the Bible, ideally in original language. But if you can't, I think it's extremely valuable to read it with a few different versions.
A basic part of any kind of hermeneutic or Bible interpretation is first to consider what it meant to the original people. We can't just rush in and start reading it with 21st century eyes, else we'll misunderstand it. And so we first want to hear what it meant to them. How did they experience it, interpret it, value it, apply it? Then we will say, and what does this now have to say to the church? I want them to hear the story of God first and foremost. And if the language stands in the way of that, then it's not useful. I don't care how close it is to the original languages. So I want people to fall in love with God's story that culminates in Jesus the Christ. And it does that very well in like the Message